with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 25 or 30 minutes, and it is a Wednesday, which means...
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Hump day.
That's right. It is hump day, and that means we go through every headline we possibly can to keep you up to date on all of the sports action and news. Since it's a Wednesday, we're in the middle of the week, so we want to get you right for the weekend. If you want to get right with this show, you can comment live on YouTube or X, 12OZ Sports on either, or follow the social medias for the show, The Rome Show 1. That's The Rome Show, the number 1. Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. You know the drill, all the social media sites. I'm going to start somewhere I haven't started in a while. So if you know the history of The Rome Show, originally when the show was created some 5-6 years ago now, we did a vote on what the name of the show should be. And at the time, the name of the show was voted The Rome Show. And so in that moment, I tried to create as many essential radio show segment puns off of the Rome Show name. And for a while, I had essentially every day, it was like straight off the Rome, my first thought of the day. And then whatever else you could come up with on the theme of the word Rome. And so I decided that having something to be fired up about to start every show 5 days a week is going to be very tiring. And also, it might not be fully achievable. Okay. So I have since moved away from straight off the Rome every show until there's a moment when I am fired up or I feel like, wow, I need to get this off my chest. And today is that day. So we're going to start the show going straight off the Rome. So I kind of hope my baseball team's listening. And if they're not, I might have to play this for them when we get into the locker room at some point today. And this is not just a shot at the baseball players on my team. This is a shot at the competitive nature that is being taught to our younger generation. Here's the deal, okay? When I was growing up, I was taught that if you're going to compete, you compete with your best foot forward. You compete with all of your heart. And when you're competing in a sport, there's no taking a moment off. There's no, I don't really feel like being here today. You chose to be on this team. You chose to play this sport. You must be engaged and compete, okay? And if I showed up at 10, 12, 15, 16, 22 years old in college, and my competitive spirit was bad, my care level was bad, or my teammate-ness was bad, my father would have eviscerated me in the car ride home. And not to the point of, wow, I can't believe he's saying that to his son. Maybe at the time I thought that. I look back now, and what he was doing was he was teaching me the best life lessons I could have ever learned. First and foremost, if you step on that baseball field or you step on that hockey rink, you are locked in. You care, you're a great teammate, you're going to try your hardest, and there's not going to be one person in that building or at that field that can question your care level. Not one. And that was the standard my father held me to. And by the way, that was the standard that every coach I played for growing up held me to. However, now, and this is where the straight off the Rome really comes from, we are creating generations, not a generation anymore. I've been in college baseball now for 10 years, and I've watched this epidemic creep in and creep in and creep in. And the problem is the NIL and the transfer portal have only made this situation worse. Why? Because kids now, players now, athletes now in college are so much more apt to run away from adversity. They're so much more apt to run away from difficult situations than try and face them head on. Micah Parsons said it great last week when he was talking about the former quarterback in Tennessee. He essentially said, college is no longer teaching our players anything. College was supposed to teach you adversity. College was supposed to get you ready for life. College was supposed to be the final teacher for you before you get into the quote unquote real world. And now your life really depends on what you do on a daily basis. That was what college athletics was supposed to be. However, now we are growing a generation of athletes that have no competitive nature. They have no care level. They have no pride in the product that they put on the field. We are growing a generation of athletes that would rather quit and run or put their head down and sulk than put their chin up and run through the adversity wall. That is what you're seeing, and it's everywhere, and it's sad. We, as Americans, should be founded on principles, and we have none of them. And you see it the most in athletics. When a kid should be playing sports because he loves it and he wants to be the best at it. If you can quit on the baseball field, if you can show up for one of 40 games and not be locked in, you do not care enough. You are not competitive. You're not a high-level athlete. And it's embarrassing that somebody was okay with you not playing with heart every single day, not putting your best foot forward every single day. And to go back to my dad in the car, you know what he'd say to me, Andrew? You're representing two names out there. Two. Every single time you play. You're representing the name on the front of the jersey. That's right. I am playing for my team. I do want to bring respect to the organization or the school that I'm playing for. He goes, but better yet, you're playing for my last name, our last name. What are people going to think of the Romanellas every time you leave a baseball field? Because if you put any of that crap on the field that I'm seeing today, if you care more about the women in the stands than the baseball on the field, if you care more about your selfish nature than you do the team, not only are you embarrassing the name on the front, not only are you playing with zero integrity for the organization you play for, you're also embarrassing our family. And that is not okay. And now I've gotten older and I've joined. I'm probably the luckiest person in America when it comes to the family I'm joining and I'm marrying into. And there's something that my future father-in-law says all the time, and it is so beautifully true. Don't embarrass the family. Don't do it. Don't embarrass the family. And you know what that means? It means that no matter the result, no matter the outcome, you do get the job, you don't get the job, you win the game, you lose the game. It better look respectful on our name. And if it doesn't, we got some real problems. But the difference is that's a lifelong lesson that's been instilled. The difference is when my father, my future father-in-law, other fathers like that saw their child shy away from being a competitor, shy away from doing the right thing, they coddled them. Oh, it's okay, Johnny. It's okay. You tried really hard today. No, you didn't. You were embarrassing to both the team and the family. And until we get back to that principle, we're going to keep watching 18 to 22-year-old kids make dumb decisions. 18 to 22-year-old kids be overly cocky and believe they deserve something that they haven't even earned. See, the beautiful thing about sports before this era was you had to earn everything. You literally didn't know when your paycheck was coming. You didn't know if you'd make it. You didn't just get a college scholarship and whoop, here's your $1.5 million. Oh, you're the 8th person on Miami basketball's bench. Here's $600,000. Hell no. In every generation leading up to the last 5 to 6 years, every single athlete had to earn what they got every day. Their competitive nature had to show up. Their heart had to show up. Not today. Not today. We are building a society, more specifically in athletics, of kids that know how to quit, of kids that are cool on adversity, of kids that don't want to work through the hard stuff. We are building a society of athletes that is okay running away, that is okay quitting, that is okay, whatever, I'm good today. I don't care if I suck. I don't care if I embarrass my name or the program. That's not okay. So this straight off the Rome goes to every coach out there that is coaching a team. Don't care the sport. Every parent out there that has an athlete, stop this. Teach these kids that adversity is a real thing. Your son comes off the field crying. Tell him, no. You don't like the situation? Play better. You want to be better at the sport? Work harder. Oh my gosh. The umpire or the official made a bad call against you. Get over it and move on. But this generation of quit because it's too hard or don't compete because you're good today, that's not it. That is not it. And you wonder why, as those people get older and as we continue to grow as a nation, it looks like we regress. Why is that? Because the principles that founded our nation, that probably made us a people that was competitive and wouldn't get walked all over, it's gone. Especially in sports. Especially in sports. And you watch all these other countries, man. You watch them play the game. Name the sport. Swimming, basketball, ice hockey, soccer. It don't matter. You can see it. Other countries, other establishments for athletics outside the United States, they don't allow that. They don't allow the coddling. They don't allow the participation trophies. No. You stink. Hey, you stink today. You need to get better. Whatever happened to that? So I am begging the coaches out there. I am begging the parents out there to reset how we teach athletes how to compete, how we teach athletes how to handle adversity. And it starts at 8, 9, and 10 years old. I'm not saying make 8-year-olds not have fun playing a game, because it's not about winning and losing then either, but reevaluate how this thing works. Reevaluate the grassroots of what we are teaching our kids when it comes to sports and handling the hard part of sports, because it ain't going to be easy. And you can't just quit, can't just transfer portal. I got an idea. What a crazy concept. Get better. Work harder. Do more so that you don't suck the next time out. So I don't know if straight off the Rome continues, but if I got to show up at 6 a.m. again on a Wednesday and rant, I will. And please, somebody out there, stop this. Stop this. I play a sport, but I don't show up every day to put my best foot forward. That ain't it. That ain't it. This is it. It's the Rome Show, 12ozsports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. We also take a quick commercial break at the halfway point. When we come back, we'll get into the sports. We'll get into the headlines from the NBA to the NHL to the NFL draft tomorrow. Andrew Romanella, you, and hopefully every coach in America understanding how they're supposed to push their athletes here on 12 Ounce Sports.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, it is the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. If you missed any of the Straight Off the Rome in the first half of the show, get the podcast. If you ever listen to podcasts, just search the Rome Show podcast. Leadership Library Podcast writes in, sounds like a familiar name. Adversity doesn't develop character. It exposes it. It is what you do from there. It's a great point. It is a great point. And I hope that we can start instilling some of that. We like adversity into our youth so that we can only continue to get better. Let's go to the NBA postseason here. It's your first headlines of the day. All right, last night we had a bunch of basketball games. The Pacers, they defeated the Bucks 123-115. The Pacers go up 2-0 in that series. Pascal Siakam, 24 points and 11 rebounds. Giannis Antetokounmpo has scored 70-plus points in the first two games of this series, yet the Milwaukee Bucks are 0-2 during that time. I'll take it a step further. The Bucks and Giannis have not won a postseason game since 2022. So it has been a long and grueling road for the last 4 years since the championship won in Milwaukee. And you're just starting to wonder, are you about to watch the last 2 or 3 games that Doc Rivers is going to coach in his NBA tenure? Despite the regular season success of Doc Rivers over the course of his career, he has 108 postseason losses during his 25-year career and only one championship, and that is the Boston Celtics in 2008. So it has been a very difficult stretch in the postseason during Doc Rivers' career. And I think it's going to be another disturbing end to a season where he's coaching a team with really good talent. Dame Lillard returned last night for the first time in a month. It was not enough for the Bucks, who I also think are trending towards a blow up. We continue. Headline number 2 is the Thunder. They slaughter Memphis again, this time by only 19 points, 118-99, but on the back of a huge first quarter where they outscored the Grizzlies 32-17. The hot starts in the first half have been the key for the Thunder in this series. SGA, he had himself a day, 27 points, 8 rebounds on 10 of 29 from the field. Also celebrated his son's first birthday prior to that contest. Cool watching the rookies sing to SGA's son. We move on. The Lakers, they even the series against the Timberwolves 94-85. Luka, he led the charge offensively for the Lakers. He had 31 points, 9 of 20 from the field. But he was perfect from the line, 11 of 11. Also threw in 12 rebounds and 9 assists, almost had a triple-double. Luka and LeBron were not great in the fourth quarter of this game. The Lakers, they only scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. However, they played great defensively the entire day, holding the Timberwolves to 85 points and only 42 total in the second half. That was what led the way for this victory. Both these teams, however, do not have a bench. Only 13 bench points for the Lakers and 19 for the Memphis Grizzlies. So that is going to be keys moving forward. Julius Randle, 27. Anthony Edwards, 20. For the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, 25 for the Timberwolves. Those were your games last night. And tonight in the NBA, you got the Magic, the Celtics, game number 2. Boston up 1-0. Heat, Cavs. Cavs up 1-0. And Warriors, Rockets. The Warriors are up 1-0. We continue along with our headlines, and we are going to do a 2-pack. That's right. We have 2 sets of games in the first, headlines for the National Hockey League, and 2 in the second. The first 2, Devils versus Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, they take a 2-0 series lead on New Jersey with a 3-1 victory. A shorthanded goal in the second period when tied 1-1 was the difference maker in this contest. The other difference maker in this series has been the goaltending for the Ottawa Senators. Frederick Anderson has been elite in the 2 combined games. He has 58 saves on 60 possible shots. Goaltending and defense must show up in the postseason, and they are right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they went up early 2-0 on the Senators. They blew that lead in the third period to make it 2-2, but here is what Max Domi did in overtime. Time victory, but he also gives them a 2-0 series lead, and there's no franchise more wanting of a Stanley Cup playoff round victory, not even just winning the Stanley Cup, just continuing to move on, than the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base. They head back to Ontario up 2-0. We continue with the headlines in the National Hockey League. How about that guy, Matthew Tkachuk? Hasn't played in nearly 2 months for the Florida Panthers since the Four Nations Cup, and he comes back and leads the Panthers to a 6-2 victory. They score in all 3 periods against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Matthew Tkachuk with 2 goals, and the Panthers, the Lightning, that was the last series to get started. Now the Panthers have a 1-0 lead, staying in Tampa Bay. Then finally, the Wild, they even up the series with a big first period, scoring 3 goals on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. 2-pack for Kirill Kaprizov and a goal apiece for Matt Zuccarello, Marcus Foligno, and Matt Boldy. That series now tied at 1 piece. And your final headline is a quick note on the NFL draft. Just a friendly reminder, tomorrow starts round number 1 of the National Football League draft, and we are pretty excited about it. Here are some top stories we're hearing to get you ready for the draft. First and foremost, a lot of people believe the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft would not be top 5 quarterbacks in last year's draft. Now, it's all semantics and it's all BS what this quote-unquote analyst thinks and quote-unquote that analyst thinks, but just very interesting to see on paper that draft grades are so drastically different year to year. And what we think of a quarterback is really determinant on the year that they're getting drafted, sometimes less on the talent that they have. Secondly, a lot of rumors that the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns, who both hold the 2nd and 3rd pick respectively, have been fielding calls for those picks. I don't know if that's true or if it's not, but some other sources around the National Football League are saying that this could be a wild draft when it comes to the trading. And I think that is because of what we just mentioned. GMs, scouts aren't fully sure as what they're seeing from some of these players, and including in some of that trade talk is apparently the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see what happens there. And then finally, the mandatory mini camps or whatever, non-mandatory, mandatory, non-mandatory, whatever mini camps are going on in the National Football League right now. And I saw a report on Kirk Cousins yesterday, which begs the question, are you going to see a draft day trade by the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins is going to go somewhere? There are plenty of places that need a quarterback, plenty of places that could probably use a quarterback, not just for next year, but for the remaining 3 years on that Kirk Cousins deal. They just have to decide if they want to pay it. But nonetheless, that's a big, I think, trade piece that could be available throughout this draft. So a lot to look forward to, and we'll break it down more tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Let's throw this on really fastly. Let you know that we are making 2 picks today. We are going to take the Warriors at the +3.5. Yeah, I think they're going to go up 2-0 on the road in this series against the Houston Rockets. You cannot deny the Warriors are 25-7 since adding Jimmy Butler, and this Rockets team has not been in the postseason and is not as good as their number 2 seed in the Western Conference. And then finally, I get the Edmonton Oilers at the +115 on the money line tonight in the National Hockey League. The Oilers, they lost to the Kings in game number 1, and so we'll see if they can get that second victory. They are underdogs in this contest, so I'll take them at the +115, and I will call that, ladies and gentlemen, the Rome Show here on a Wednesday, which is our favorite
Hump Day.
Yeah, Hump Day is right. All right, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Remember, we need to teach young athletes adversity is okay, and we need to teach them how to push through that adversity. I'm going to try and push through my adversity today at 3:30 on the road. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Andrew, I'm now telling you to have an electric Hump Day. And until tomorrow, peace.
Thank you for listening.